The perception of the state of California is that it is riddled with drugs and crime and homelessness, red tape, bureaucracy, and government overreach. We have a saying out here in Arizona in the desert, don't California my Arizona. Well, there's a man on the show today. His name is Leo Zacky. You might recognize that last name, Zacky, because his family, once upon a time, had an enormous chicken business. And Leo has decided to run for governor of the state of California. I'm assuming, Leo, welcome to the show, because of things like crime and homelessness and red tape bullshit and government overreach and some of the things that the politicians out there have done to ruin your state. Welcome into the program. Leo, am I touching on something here?
Yeah. Oh, these are all great reasons as to why. I mean, for me, after we lost our family business because of overregulation and high minimum wages, just the unfair business practices is what, well, basically gave me the opportunity to do this. My family would never allow me to run and get involved in politics with our business because they're afraid of being boycotted. But now, without the business, I can actually get involved and do the right thing on behalf of all the people of the state. I mean, we suffered so much here in the state as Californians, and just driving anywhere in the state, you are going to experience witnessing homelessness and crime, and just everything is in disarray, and it shouldn't be that way.
Leo, you just touched on something that we talk a lot about on this program, and that is if you were still in the family business, or if the family business was still running with this, major corporation, Zacky, your family might push back and say, hey, dude, you're not going to run because we got to kind of toe the line here. And actually, our customers are liberals and conservatives and everything in between. There's a problem in America for a couple of reasons. There's a lot of very talented men and women out there that will not run for office, for senator or governor or president, because they're afraid of the backlash. Because they know that with a fine-tooth comb, the mainstream media is going to dig through every single post and text message and love affair, et cetera, and they're going to find skeletons in the closet. We all have skeletons, Leo. So just talk about that, like the reasoning that you're in the race, number one. But number two, isn't it a shame that if your family situation was different and your business was thriving in California, you probably wouldn't even be able to run because you don't want all that smoke?
No, you're 100% right. I mean, I flirted with this idea back in 2016, and my grandmother was like, no way, you can't do that. And so, look, I'm going to put family first. I've got no choice. That's what you would do, right? So that's the sad reality, is that there are so many people that are overqualified to be in these positions of being quite literally public servants and taking on that role, and with their expertise in business should be in these positions. But like you mentioned, they're afraid of getting the flack and getting the heat and having all these things exposed. But for me, I've already lost my family business. Everything I built my life around has been ripped away and taken from me and destroyed by the policies here in California. So I essentially have nothing really left to lose at this point but my life and my freedom. And guess what? I'm not giving up my freedom.
Let's get the elephant in the room out of the way here, Leo. Steve Hilton is running. Steve Hilton, as you know, former Fox News host, British native, powerful man, well-connected man, polling pretty well. You have even some other people there that are very powerful and wealthy, et cetera. How do you take care of that from your perspective? And I've heard you on other interviews answer this question. I mean, you're a smart guy. I've looked into you. I think you got some incredible talent and policies. But when you're going up against a man, take Steve Hilton as an example, that has that kind of name and that kind of power and that kind of mouthpiece, politics at the end of the day, it's kind of a popularity contest, for lack of a better term. How do you overcome this thing?
Well, you're right. It seems to have devolved into this very high school-like popularity contest. I mean, to be honest, I don't really watch Fox News. I didn't know who the hell Steve Hilton was until I heard rumors about him thinking about running for office, and then I started looking into the guy. He's not from the United States. He just became a citizen 2 years ago. He basically had to leave the UK to reinvent himself on the other side of the world because of how poorly his political career went there in the UK. Look, That's great. He's on Fox News. He's a talking head. He's a contributor every now and then. I mean, whoop-de-doo. I mean, what does that have to do with being someone who knows the state and actually having solutions? I develop my own solutions here. I don't need to pay the California Policy Institute to write my own or ghostwrite a book for me. I'm a fourth generation Californian with a 120-year family history, a 90-year family business and agriculture behind me. I had to work my way up from the bottom to become the vice president. And like I mentioned before, I'm from here. I know the state and I know exactly what it takes to fix it. And it's not about name, being a celebrity. Do we really want to have another celebrity? We voted in an actor already. We had Arnold Schwarzenegger tell us that he was a Republican and he came in and well, he did very un-Republican things as governor and we're worse off because of it. And Steve Hilton will be no different. He's not a real Republican. He's not a real conservative. So I'm not worried about this.
Yeah, in fact, California has had three actors as governor. You've got, you've got Reagan, you had
Well, yeah.
Arnold, and in my opinion, Gavin Newsom is an actor too.
Well, I
So
guess all the world's a stage. But look, the difference between someone like uh Arnold Schwarzenegger and Ronald Reagan is that well, Reagan actually took the lead and got involved in helping out people in the Hollywood film industry and not just living off the whole concept of I'm a superstar. The man actually took an active role in politics and was very attentive to what's going on with policy and doing the right thing. So completely different.
yeah, actually, Reagan, a lot of people don't know this. He was the head of the Actors Guild way back
That's
when.
right.
And he actually fought for a lot of what we would call nowadays more progressive liberal policies like healthcare and different things that the Actors Guilds didn't have. And that's kind of interesting looking into Reagan. So, Leo, I meet a lot of Californians out here in Phoenix, Scottsdale, Arizona, because a lot of people have moved here from your state. And when I talk to them and I ask them, so why did you move? There's like three reasons. The first reason is taxes, right? The cost of living and the taxes are crazy, astronomical. The second is crime, and I would lump that in with homelessness. So how real, boots on the ground, how real is the crime and homelessness problem? And what are some of your solutions to fix it?
Oh, it's incredibly real. I mean, 1/3 of the nation's homeless live here in California, and the state spent over $25 billion in the last 5 years. And the only thing that we got was 50% more homelessness. So we have a big issue with that. The problem is that they're basically band-aiding the solution. They consider putting a roof over somebody's head as ending their homelessness. Well, the reality is most of these folks are homeless for the facts that they're facing a mental health crisis and they're supplementing it with a drug habit. They also have a lot of runaways. And so because there's no treatment that's going on, you're really just band-aiding the situation. You're not fixing it. And so the solution that I've developed, I call homeless to home, where we actually figure out who these people are, if they're US citizens or not. If they're not, then they need to be deported. After that, you figure out what's wrong with you. Do you have a mental health crisis or a drug habit or both? And you provide treatment for them. And you also give them the opportunity to learn a job skill. And that's the most important thing. Give them the ability to learn a skill where they can then be employable in the future. And while they're doing that, they'll earn a living wage doing so. That goes into an account that they can't touch. You deduct their medical care, their housing, any costs that go into that from the money that they earn, but it won't put them in a position of debt so that when they complete this program, they have a job skill, whether it's in construction or agriculture or sanitation or basic firefighting, and then they're eligible. So anybody who hires them coming out of the program gets a tax incentive for doing so. They've got money in the bank. They're eligible for government assisted housing. They're off drugs. They have their mental health under control, and they're ready to reenter society with a feeling of optimism. And because when you live on the street too, it's very depressing. We have to help build their self-esteem. And by having them work with their hands and earn something and see the results of their work, it's going to do wonders.
California has recently surpassed Japan to become the fourth largest economy in the world. And this is something that Gavin Newsom talks a lot about, and he should talk a lot about it. If we can wrap our heads around that, an American state, now you're a big state, land-wise, geographically, you're big, square miles, but to have a state in the United States of America be the fourth largest economy in the world is nothing short of incredible. Is that just a function of, all your tech, all your tourism, and a lot of very wealthy, smart people that live there? Or on some level, has Gavin Newsom business-wise been actually doing a pretty good job?
Well, I think the whole world has just been suffering post-COVID with the way that the world is shut down. And I don't know how these numbers could be. I mean, I've been hearing numbers where California is going to fall to the eighth largest
So you don't think
economy.
that's true? Because that's what he's touting. He's saying you just surpassed Japan as the fourth largest economy in the world. Do you think that somehow he's manipulating those numbers?
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be the first time. I mean, he manipulated the numbers saying that we had this massive surplus during COVID, and that was strictly due to the concept that, well, we weren't having public services run, so those expenses weren't being spent. So I don't see this with the fact that we have less food being produced here in the state right now. That's our major export here. I mean, we are such an ag dominant state with all the water restrictions that we've been having hit our farmers. I mean, there's no way.
Interesting. I actually didn't even know that that was a controversial topic. I thought that that was sort of like, some governmental numbers and everybody agreed. I didn't know that maybe
No,
you're not the fourth largest.
I don't necessarily know if that's the case. I think that the whole world is definitely in a bit of limbo right now with the tariffs that, that are being discussed all the time. I'm not certain that that's the case because he's certainly no genius when it comes to the economy. There's no doubt about that. I mean, look, Hollywood's been leaving the state because they're disincentivized to produce films here. The agriculture is leaving the state. The dairies are getting ready to pack up. They're basically shutting dairies down here in California. With minimum wage being as high as it is, we don't really have a competitive edge when it comes to exports. So I'm curious as to where this is possibly coming from. And look, Tesla's not here anymore. Chevron's not here anymore. Oracle's not here anymore. In-N-Out just moved their headquarters.
Twitter, right?
Yeah, I mean, think about all these businesses that are leaving. So I would argue
Joe Rogan.
right, but that's my point is like all these things exiting California and contributing to the tax coffers and the GDP here. I don't understand where this could come
Actually,
from.
a lot of the comedy industry has moved to like Austin, Texas because of the Rogan effect. So there's a lot of things, not only culturally and socially, but also money moving out of the state. I want to ask you a question here. So there's a woman out here in Arizona, Karen Taylor Robeson. She has announced that she's running again for governor. And then obviously, Andy Biggs has also announced he's running for governor of the state of Arizona. Interestingly enough, when Miss Robeson announced, she got the Trump endorsement. Now Andy throws his hat in the ring, and Andy's a Trump guy. And so now Trump came out a couple days ago with a tweet saying, or truth, whatever it is, saying that, they're both great candidates, and he endorses both. It's like, well, what's the point of an endorsement if you're going to endorse both? My question is, have you reached out to the Trump people? I mean, you know how powerful in this day and age a Trump MAGA endorsement could be to your campaign. I mean, overnight, it'll put you on the map in a big way. How do you go about reaching out for a Donald Trump endorsement?
It's definitely a difficult thing to do. There's a lot of gatekeepers that that literally charge an arm and a leg to give you access, and politics is a very scummy game in that regards. It's basically, you pay me and I can maybe do you a favor. It's a challenge. We're working on it. We're not trying to pay heaps of money to do something like this. I think that with the social media team and the PR team that I have helping me get my name and my voice out there, just basically making a bigger splash is going to be a big difference maker. But other good things too, like I was endorsed by Dr. Robert Malone. I spoke at CPAC. We're working on this. So it just takes time. And a lot of people too are very hesitant to kind of say they want to give an endorsement already because the election for this governor's race is a little over 13 months out now. So, people are saying, oh, I want to see who fills out the field and this and that, but we are actively working on this. So it takes time.
Well, whatever your future is, whether you win or lose, Leo Zacky, you're going to have to, when you do get elected someday, you're going to have to interface with the federal government. And we've seen that that's extremely important with, unfortunately, in your state, for example, the wildfires, and we've seen it with COVID, et cetera. So who is president is important. So I want to get your take on this. We had Bernie Sanders and AOC out here a couple of weeks ago, and they're doing this like countrywide tour. It's like, is that a ticket? Is it AOC on top, or is she old enough? Is Bernie on top? Like, are they running? But when you talk to Democrats, and I have a lot of Democrat friends in politics that worked in the Biden administration, they do bring up your guy there in California, Gavin Newsom. He looks the part. He's handsome. He's slick. He's charismatic. He can debate. He did great with Sean Hannity. He did a good job when he was debating Ron DeSantis. Even these policies that, like, how do you defend some of these California policies? Anyone that has any common sense, he still figures out a way to finagle a way to make it kind of make sense.
Yeah, but if you listen to what they say, does it actually make sense?
Well, my point is
It's good.
perception can be reality, and the guy's a smooth talker. You know that, Leo. He's a smooth guy. What do you think that the American people would actually consider him to be our next president?
No way. No way. He's done so much damage here. And I think the debate that he had with Ron DeSantis really illustrated how poorly of a job he's done and just how full of crap he is. Really. I mean, look, and I love when DeSantis brought out that poop map of San Francisco. I mean, it's plain to see. Look, when you have big companies leaving the state, when you have people constantly all over the country, when you introduce yourself and you say, "Oh, I'm from California," like, oh, roll their eyes and they kind of scoff at you. And like you mentioned at the start of the show, don't California my Arizona. It's the same thing in Texas or any other state. The state has become the laughing stock of the country because of the leadership. And they all know Gavin Newsom's the one behind it.
I guess my point is that he's a very smooth operator with a lot of money. And I guess my point is people should not, they should take note, is what I'm saying, because we've seen crazy things happen in politics. And he does have a way of sort of finagling numbers and issues to make it make sense. And I do think he will run, and I think that we should at least take note because we don't want America to turn into California. Maybe you're California when you're governor. We'll finish up with this, Leo Zacky. Thanks for coming on today. I know you're a busy guy. You're running a campaign here. There's a woman that we all know. We talk a lot about on the show. Her name's Kamala Harris. There's a poll I saw in California. There's rumblings that on the other side of the aisle, she's going to be running. I don't know if she wants that smoke because I also think if she loses, her career's over. Her career might be over right now. Your reaction to the rumors that Kamala Harris could be running for the seat that you would like?
I think that she would be just a death sentence for any Democrat ticket. She can't do it. I mean, the whole country watched her word salad and fumble her way through the most embarrassing election ever, mismanaging the campaign, going over budget the way she did. And then, you hear the murmurings too that she's possibly going through a divorce. I don't know if she could possibly have time to run for office dealing with all that and having all that behind it too. And here's a great thing. Me and her have one thing in common, and that's the guy who cuts our hair. And she stiffed him on the bill when it came to paying during the campaign. And he came to me and asked to borrow the money so he could keep his salon. Otherwise, he was going to be evicted.
Hang on a second, Leo. I heard this story. I heard this rumor. So Leo Zacky, you're telling me the same, is it a male?
Yeah.
The same man that cuts your hair cuts former Vice President Kamala Harris's hair.
Yeah, and he's been doing it for like 12 plus years for both of us.
Okay, so now give me the story.
So her campaign shorted him because they went over budget and they basically stiffed a lot of people with the bill. And so he was going to lose his salon because, well, he was expecting to get paid by the Kamala Harris campaign and he didn't. And so his landlord was going to evict him and he asked me to borrow the money and I said, no problem. And I gave it to him right then and there. And he's still got his salon now.
Well, if you ever get on a debate stage with Kamala Harris, I think it's
Of
probably a
course.
pretty good story to bring up because that'll end her campaign.
Easy money. So, I mean, it's for me, yeah, bring it on. She'd be the easiest candidate to knock off and no problem.
Well, you got a great haircut. Leo Zacky running for governor of the state of California. I got to tell you, you're a breath of fresh air. You're a young guy. You've got a lot of great ideas. I've looked on your website. I follow you on social media. I wish you the best of luck. I do understand you're fighting the machine, the California machine, the powers that be. But I think a smart, intelligent, young face, knows business, knows politics. We need more of that in our country. And I applaud you for standing up and fighting for what you believe in. And you're gonna get heat, right? You're gonna get heat after this interview. But you're a man that loves this country, and that's what's most important. The stars and stripes right behind me.
Absolutely. No, and I really appreciate this opportunity. But look, if we're going to change this system, we have to bring in real outsiders that really care and aren't in this for some cloud or ego trip. Believe me, $300,000 a year as a governor ain't going to change my life. I don't need this job. The state needs me to have this job. This country needs me to have this job. I want to do this because I care about my home state. I care about the people, and I'm sick of being lied to at every possible turn by these corrupt career politicians. We need change. We are all aware that there is a big globalist cabal that is pulling the shots, that are making things very difficult for all of us. And if we don't address this and get in there with people that want to do the right thing for the people instead of lining their own pockets or playing some sort of political ladder climbing game, I don't need this. This is why you need me.
Leo Zacky, candidate for governor of California. There he is. My name is Billy Harfosh, fighting against the cabal, Leo, fighting against the mainstream media, standing up for freedom of speech. That's what we do on this show. Star Worldwide Network's beautiful, beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona. Leo, we'll have you back on. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.